Yo, I literally just almost drove off with my monster sitting on top of the car. I would have backed up and it just would have fell over and I would have had monster all over my car. That could have been tragic. Alright, what's going on, guys? Mack Stevens here from Life Athlete Coaching and the Camp Transformation Center, Round Rock. And I'm just going to go over what the workout I put together for today's upper body day. Alright, now breaking down how the camp is going to flow. So we have a setup here to where we do circuit training, we have half people on the mat, we have half people rotating through stations with equipment. The mat work is going to be with a single dumbbell that you're going to see here on the right hand side. And then the station workouts are going to be what you see over here on the left using various pieces of equipment. Now again, we're going for a dynamic kind of push day, so I have a lot of core work in here, some power movements, some bodybuilding movements, and a lot of good stuff, essentially for all the pushing muscles in the body. All right, so you guys can see back behind me is like the training floor. Again, like I said, there's half the workout that's done right here on the mat. As you can see, there's 2 sets of dumbbells, there's a lighter option, a heavier option. We've got 15s and 25s over here. We've got 10s and 20s on this side. And then in the turf is gonna be, or like past the turf over here is gonna be the rig. And then the other side is gonna be more turf with the other 4 stations, or other 2 stations. So with this mat work, this is something that can be done at home if you just have dumbbells, but it's a lot of good movements, again, for that dynamic pushing style of workout. So you have these first 2 movements where, again, you work 2 rounds, 30 seconds of each move. Today I have it set up to where you're actually gonna be alternating back and forth for technically those first 2 rounds. Normally it would be a movement for 2 rounds and then a separate one, but for today's breakdown, the first 30 seconds you're gonna work through seal jacks. It's a cardio movement, putting a lot of horizontal flexion and extension. Now you're gonna have a 10-second break in between, and the next movement is gonna be a side plank. So whether that be from the elbow, from the hand, from the knees, from the feet, that's gonna be the first kind of core movement. Now you're gonna have a little bit longer rest as the stations are rotating in between to the second movement. Normally this would be something completely different, but for today's purpose, we're gonna go back to a second set of seal jacks, so we're shooting that heart rate back up again, and then we'll have that 10-second breather, working our way down to the opposite side, doing that same side plank. Now, from those 2 movements, we'll get into a little bit more of a bodybuilding movement, which is gonna be those skull crushers. SA is gonna be our single arm, so we'll be laying on the ground on the back. I like to encourage hips up just for a tad bit more glute and core activation, and then just working that one arm on the extension. Again, there's 2 rounds of 30 seconds, so you'll do a full 30 seconds on one arm and then a full 30 seconds on the other. You'll have your longer rest while the stations rotate, and then your last movement on the mat is going to be a lateral bear crawl. Now, we've got you guys in about 6-foot spaces because we're still going through COVID at this time, but it's just a working of a bear crawl from left to right. So that's going to be the mat side of our workout. Again, all this being done either body weight or with a single dumbbell. All right, now we're gonna go over the station side of the workout. Our first movement being our barbell overhead press or shoulder press. Again, we're going 2 rounds of 30 seconds. Whether you have a barbell, you have a preset bar, this can also be substituted with dumbbells if needed. But again, first movement, 2 rounds, 30 seconds each, barbell overhead press. Now, our opposing shoulder exercise, from our power movement of our barbell overhead press to our more of a bodybuilder movement of isolation of our lateral delts, we have lateral raises. Now, these lateral raises, we're going to be using plates, but you can use any piece of equipment that you feel comfortable laterally adducting from the body to hit those side delts. So that could be bands, that could be cables, that could be traditional dumbbells. Again, to whatever you feel comfortable or have at your disposal. Now, moving down to a banded bicycle. Now, we're talking bicycle crunches. Again, since we have 2 rounds, I'm going to spend a full 30 seconds just going to the opposite sides of the body. You'll loop a band around the arch of your foot, you're coming out, and then opposite side, full 30 seconds, let's say left to right. You'll take your 10-second break, and then we're coming back to now going right to left, that same thing. Band around the arch of the foot, just adding a little bit of resistance to that band. As the band stretches, the intensity and that tension is going to be tighter on that hip flexor and lower ab. Finishing it out with a little bit of kind of physical therapy and cardio for a TRX movement. So we're going high knees for 1 round and then a W row. So again, high knees holding those TRX, we're gonna be very core engaging, gonna shoot the heart rate up, very, very cardio based. And then we'll slow it down and counter it with a movement that's a lot more kind of slow and focused, to where your energy level can be down because the smaller movement you're going through. Just with those TRX bands, opening it up, this is a great one of those exercises to improve your posture. Alrighty guys, so that's going to be the 4 movements that are going to be done with the set of dumbbells that's in the mat in the center. So going back over them, that seal jack, again, it's taking the place of a superset of the very first 2 movements. So while the people on the stations are going to be working through their 2 sets of their overhead press and their lateral raise, let's say first round of overhead presses, they're doing seal jacks. We take that 10-second break. Second round of overhead presses, then they're doing that side plank for that 30 seconds. Then there's a longer break because they will rotate around. You get to catch your breath. Then we're going for, when they start their lateral raises, you'll be doing your seal jacks for a second round of cardio. Take that 10 seconds. They're going back into the lateral raises for a second set. You're evening out that side plank. Hopefully that makes sense. From there, we're moving down to a completely different movement. We're working the triceps, so it's an isolation movement. So you can do that single arm if you got a strong tricep, or for some reason, if you do need to modify that movement, you can take it to both hands and just do both hands for both sets instead of switching for 30 on one and 30 on the other. Finishing it out, this is the dynamic core and kind of push movement that I really like to kind of base this workout a little around, is that lateral bear crawl. So trying to keep those knees under the hips, hands under the shoulders, core is nice and engaged, just working left to right, because a lot of times forward and backwards is really mimicked a lot. In our example here, if we were doing a forward and backward bear crawl, I would kind of compare that to doing like a front raise or that overhead press like we're covering during our stations. Now, going left to right in that bear crawl, core intensive, but also semi-mimics that lateral raise. So we're abducting from the body again. Now, but it's a horizontal abduction. Doing the opposite side of it, that skull crusher is going to be the accessory to all of our pushing movements. So we can isolate that for 30 seconds, and it's a lighter weight range, so that works perfectly from doing something on the mat as opposed to a station. Shield jacks are going to be there for cardio, as well as the TRX work of those high knees. And then again, another one of those kind of PT moves thrown in there, that W row, working external rotation, very good for anybody working out. That banded bicycle, that's going to be our kind of dynamic ab movement. So of course we could do regular bicycles, but if someone's got a really strong core, you're looking for a different kind of stimulus, adding that band to it, whether you wrap it around the rig, dumbbell, or just any fixed point, having that stretch and squeeze, letting that band expand and get tighter at the same time is really good for giving yourself a good pump through the stomach. So that's going to be the workout, guys. Here at the camp, it is Thursdays, our second push day of the week, or upper body day of the week. So if you're looking for something that's mainly push dominant and dynamic, this is a great class to run in if you've got this kind of setup. This has been Mac from the Camp Round Rock and Life Athlete Coaching. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Yo, I literally